Good morning, and welcome to your daily Farm and Home Show, brought to you by the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And now, here's your host.
Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna, and this morning we're visiting with Whitney Carmen. She's the Grayson County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Good morning, Whitney.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm glad you're here today.
Yeah.
It is spring, and
Yes.
one of the things that comes along with spring is having lambs.
Yes, and so in Kentucky, typically January and then April are the two lambing seasons for our producers in Kentucky. And so especially in my area, we have gotten really big into haired sheep, and so April is the typical lambing season for them. And really, it's kind of neat to see them because they are a little easier maintenance when it comes to lambing in the spring, especially since we can do it out on pasture. If you're lambing out in the wintertime, typically you're going to need to have some sort of confinement to put them in because they're going to be into the elements, and so you want to get them out of that. So we're lambing usually starting in April, and they'll lamb and then they'll wean them 60 days later, so we're talking midsummer, and then they'll sell them again about 120 pounds. So,
you know, we have a lot of new sheep producers.
We do.
Because the space requirements are usually less.
Yes.
But I've heard some people that they might be having some trouble this year.
They are, and so we've had a really interesting winter, to say the least. We've had, in any kind of ruminant animal, we've had a lot of winter issues with mud, with wetness, with foot rot, with even some issues with nutrition, because if we've had low quality hay and we've been feeding it to our animals, we might run into some issues with what we call ketoacidosis. And so about 2 weeks prior to lambing in this situation, you want to take precautions and keep an eye on your flock, because typically what will happen is if we've either overfed them or underfed them, they are going to exhibit symptoms that may be similar to milk fever. And what will happen, but that's not what it is. They'll kind of look like they're walking funny, they're lame, they don't act like they want to eat, and that could be an issue. All right, and so what that means is ketosis is where the ketones build up in their blood sugar, and the body can't produce, get rid of it quick enough, and so it puts them into ketoacidosis. And so that will cause trouble when it comes to lambing. They could abort, they could, after they have the lamb, they could get down really bad, and they may not survive that. So it's really something to look after.
And some people probably feel like massive success just getting them through the winter, this difficult winter.
Yes.
But now is not the time to slack off.
Right, because the last month or so of gestation in lambs or in ewes is actually when they put on like 75% of their weight, and so that's when it typically happens. So prevention is the best form of medicine, if you will, and that is making sure that you watch their body condition score. 1 to 4, 1 being extremely thin and 4 being obese, is you want to maintain a 2 to a 3 when it comes to actually lambing out. And so if you can keep an eye on that, and that's just visual, you want to be able to see that. And University of Kentucky has great resources on body condition scoring. Dr. Don Ely at University of Kentucky, a lot of folks know him.
Yes.
He has been a small ruminant nutritionist and specialist for a lot lot of years.
Yes, he was my animal science teacher many years ago.
Mine too, and I worked for him, and so they do a lot of good work up there. And so that is a really good key. If you do find one that's in ketosis, you want to make sure you can actually feed them some sugar or molasses to help kind of get their energy back up going again. But that is on, prevention is what I would say would be the best key.
Absolutely, and making sure that you have their nutrition right, but also making sure that you're watching them, because a lot of times this can kind of sneak up on you.
Yes.
And if you're not out there every day.
Right, and that's another thing. There are different types of production systems, and so if you've got one that's kind of a lower maintenance, which I do. I mean, I have a full-time job, and so I'm a part-time farmer, if you will, and so I have to, but that's one of my goals, is to make sure to watch them, make sure that they are exhibiting symptoms that are typical for right before parturition and right before lambing season. So,
but we do have a lot of resources available at the university and the Kentucky Sheep and Goat Association.
Yes. If you are a sheep or goat producer, I would highly recommend getting into that system and becoming a member of that, just for the resources. There is a breeder resource there for folks that are interested in getting into production that may not know who to go to buy animals or to get breeding stock. Then there's also resources they partner with the Department of Agriculture, and so we get a lot of marketing information. The Hoof Print magazine is a quarterly publication that goes out, and it is fantastic as far as resources. A lot of that stuff comes from the University of Kentucky research.
All right.
Yes.
Well, appreciate the information, Whitney. And if you have questions, make sure to contact your local office. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
If you have questions about today's topic, please call the Warren County Extension Office at the number on your screen. Thanks for watching and have a great day.